Perfect. Sounds great. Well, first off, I just want to say thank you to Trinomics and Oracle for putting this event together, and you guys for taking the time away from your families to join. Really appreciate it. I'm super excited to show you guys some bleeding edge ERP automation software that we have today. But before I do that, I have around 3 slides just to set some context. And before I do that, I would like to just bring to light some, skipping slides already. Perfect. Just some context around Opkey itself. So around 2015, we started testing the end-to-end flow between any web, mobile, desktop, mainframe application, which really laid a solid foundation for Opkey. That gave us that agnostic strength to really go across all ERPs. Speaking of which, around 2019, 2020, we broke into the packaged ERP space, starting to build out some advanced capabilities for Oracle Fusion, Workday, Salesforce, Coupa, et cetera. We're going to walk through some of those advanced capabilities today, but the really important piece is January, on our 10th anniversary as a company, we released 5 agentic AI agents, which are now listed here. So we have our PMO agent, configuration agent, testing agent, training agent, finally support agent. Now, with all of these agents, as the finance panel was just discussing, there's a lot of SaaS mess out there. We have one application to support one aspect of our ERP. As we all know, we have multiple applications, which leads to training and enablement for all of those applications just support this ERP system. So with that, to get past the UI training, the logic building behind developing these automated scripts, we've released Maestro. Maestro is a natural language prompting that will allow you to automate the configuration of an Oracle environment all the way through performing unit tests to those configurations, functional executions, finally developing job aids for those business users. Now, with that, I want to just show you what a day in a life would look like with Opkey embedded in your environment without Maestro. So first, during the implementation of the Opkey platform, we would perform a feature called test discovery. This is when we're going to be process mining that lower environment so we can identify any manual or automated scripts you're running in that environment today, and then build upon those with Opkey's 30,000 pre-built test script library. That makes the platform implementation turn into weeks rather than months, so you guys can get value as quick as possible. After that, we will send over the business just reports off of what we've pulled and what we've added to that environment for approval. And then the next part of the delivery process is us going in, building out the full end-to-end process flows for all applications connected to Oracle, as well as capturing any personalizations within your Oracle environment. Finally, we will build a full regression suite, separate them into sanity suites if you would like, and send those reports over to the business to, again, approve. Now, let's introduce a critical event, say a quarterly patch release. For that, one advanced capability that we have is impact analysis. This is where we will take a snapshot of that lower environment, pre and post change. We'll overlay those changes, highlight them using a RAG methodology of red, amber, green, and then give you the ability to self-heal those affected scripts. So gone are the days of going back into that Excel sheet, editing that line of code, and then re-uploading it into the lower environment. Now, not only can we give you the ability to self-heal and identify those scripts, but we can also group them together into a sanity suite. So you can test them independently from your regression suite. So we're cutting out any redundant testing as well through these critical events, whether that is a patch release or a BAU change that you guys might encounter. After that, we will just generate some reports. You can send those reports to the business owners, product owners, C-suite level folks, again, just to get a full holistic view of your ERP environment. Now let's look at that same slide, but with now Maestro involved. You can see that really the only manual intervention that's ever needed are approval processes and capturing customizations. Maestro will be able to handle identifying those test cases, standing up these pillars and submodules, and building out full regression suites and executing those test suites. Now with that, let's actually look at Maestro and see what the platform looks like. So today, I have two separate, perfect. So I have two separate prompts for you guys. This first one that we're looking at is for a greenfield implementation of core HR inside of an Oracle instance. So you can see we're identifying what types of submodules we're trying to configure out of core HR. Then, once all configurations are completed, send me a notification. I want to approve those, and then run test discovery, that process mining feature that I was just talking about. Once that's completed, we'll build an entire sanity and regression suite, and then send over the test execution results. So I'm going to prompt that execution here, and we'll look at my other prompt I've loaded up once I select my Maestro agent. The second example I have is more on the ongoing maintenance piece, specifically using Opkey's configuration agent. So you can see here, I am selecting my source and destination instance out of those lower environments. Then I want to be able to select specific configurations from dev 1 to dev 2. Notify me when this export is ready, and finally I want to execute that core HR test suite once I've implemented those configurations. So let me kick this off, and then I'll give you some more background on Maestro. Now, I'm sure since we're all in the industry, we realize that these prompts alone can take weeks, months of manual effort involved just to complete these simple tasks. Gone are those days with Opkey's Maestro. Now, you can see on the right-hand side, we will be displaying any logic that will show up. So we're revealing the full kind of reasoning model behind these agentic AI agents, so there's nothing left to be unseen. Once this will identify the prompt, start compiling the data, it might ask you some clarification questions, like, who am I sending these approval emails to? What would you like me to name these test suites? Et cetera. What virtual machine would you like me to perform these execution agents on? So we're always bringing human in the loop with these agentic AI motions. So you can see here, it's spilling out all of the justifications. Now, the reasoning does take a little bit for us to identify what you're actually asking, how are we going to pull that data. If we can complete these tasks in parallel for higher efficiency, what does that look like? Now, you might have also noticed when I had that Maestro slide up that we are connecting to the internet as well. So that is great for consolidating Oracle's 24C patch releases, any Redwood releases that are coming up into a more digestible manner. Now, once this compiles, it'll offer some clarification questions, and once that compiles, it will build a pipeline showing you all of the tasks where those approval gateways are, where we're executing these execution suites, et cetera. Now, 90% of my job is customer facing, and I always hear, AI, we're unaware of what the potential could be, specifically connecting it to the internet. So for that example, we can always turn that connection off, and you can upload company-specific documents to our repository. So then that will be the knowledge base for Maestro. Now, we'll let the clarification questions load, and I'll show you what the output of this would look like in the meantime. Here is that greenfield implementation prompt fully baked out into a pipeline. So you can see we are applying those configurations, pulling it out of the config workbook that uses a standard BR100 format, and then performing unit tests against those configurations. If I scroll over to the right, we can see that now all of those configurations and submodules are being process mined using test discovery, which then we will go in and send out for approvals and build those regression suites. Now let's just say, for sake of example, this pipeline is almost perfect. We forgot to bake in an approval process or something of that matter. It is still editable in this stage of its life. So if I come over to one of these middle sections and hit this plus icon, we have now added a task, and let's take a look at some of the options we can make. So first, we can name this task. Second, we have to select the action. We have some Oracle Fusion specific actions as well as Opkey specific actions. And finally, building a test description. So even if someone else does pick up this pipeline, they're fully aware of what we're trying to accomplish here. Now with this, I hope I've planted a small seed of curiosity of the unlimited possibilities that Maestro can offer, not only by how fast we can speed up implementations of net new Oracle projects, but the ease of maintenance when going through these critical environments like patch releases, monthly releases, BAU cadences. Let's just check if we have some clarification questions here. Oh, see, it didn't even need one. You can see we have generated this pipeline here, and all I want to do if I want to perform an execution, sounds good, create workflow. And then that will now orchestrate between all agentic agents that we've released and I talked about a little bit earlier to fully move through the process. Now, as I've mentioned, 90% of my job is customer facing, and there's really two main concerns that I hear regarding AI, specifically implementing it with ERPs. First, the hesitation of the unknown. We're still at the infancy stages of AI. In the next 2 to 3 to 10 years, it's going to be completely different than what we're seeing today. So as the opening remarks of today's session were, it doesn't matter how far you dig your heels in, the flow of time and innovation isn't going to sit back and wait for you to accept what's coming. The second is my team. Everyone is thinking that AI is going to be replacing their teams and all of that good stuff, but realistically, your teams have the industry knowledge and the SME knowledge that cannot be replaced through an AI agent. We still need people to approve and double check this work. Granted, AI is going to be taking a lot of this legwork, like configuring, testing, but we don't really need humans to be running through functional executions of these test scripts anymore, especially with Opkey. So to that, AI is really just there to enhance and create higher efficient teams so then we can have more projects acting in parallel, implementing more customers faster and more accurately. So with that, like I said, I hope I planted a small seed of curiosity. Feel free to direct any questions to the Opkey website. I'm also going to have some business cards on this table right here, so feel free to flag me down or grab one of those and send me a message. But thank you for listening.